All right. Well, good morning. I don't think anybody's here yet. If they are, they haven't said anything. I did start streaming the starting soon screen a little earlier than usual. Anyway, I guess for people who watch this from the beginning, today we're going to Joey. Today we're going to talk about the Rep Chopper that was commissioned by Repkord, and the Battle Pack, which is the filament pack that Repkord is selling that I believe went live on the site. I think he said it was going to be Monday, so that would be yesterday. And I'll go back and edit the video and put the links and stuff when I go get them in the description. Have not done so yet, but I will go back and do that. So anyway, the Battle Pack is it's a set of like military colors, and I don't have the exact names for the colors in front of me, but one is that I'm really excited about is a very, very nice army green. It's one of the nicest army greens I've seen, and that's a color that is fairly hard to find. So I'm excited about that. And then there's also a gunmetal gray, a like military khaki or tan color, and I didn't get any of the black that comes in the pack. That wasn't ready yet when he sent the pack to me. But there's also a black, so I haven't had a chance to get my hands on that yet. Good morning, Mike. Haven't had a chance to get my hands on the black yet, but black is black is black. I mean, there's going to be some differences, I'm sure, somewhere, somehow, but it looked in the pictures that I've seen of it so far to be a kind of matte black. Good morning, Vince. Yeah, I didn't get the Black Ops filament, but Pooch reached out to me and he said, I want to see one of your vehicles in the Battle Pack colors, and so he sent it to me, and this was before it was released to the public or anything, and initially I thought about just printing out one of the vehicles I've already made so that I could get to printing with it quicker. Good morning, Don. And but I decided against that because I was like, something this cool where a well-known company in the community reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to me and said, I want to see you do something cool with this. I thought it deserved a new model. So I sat down and said, well, what would be something really cool that should be printable with purchasing a battle pack and be able to print the entire thing without running out of filament, because the rolls are small. Because some of my vehicles, you're close to a kilo on one color if you're trying to keep the colors right. So I didn't want to do something like that, where someone would have to buy more than one battle pack. So I purposely tried to keep this plastic usage to where you could print it, look cool with buying a single battle pack. So what I ended up doing was, let's go to the screen share, designing this, which has now affectionately been deemed the Rep Chopper. So when I got the design close to done, I reached out to Pooch and asked him for one favor. I said, do you have an SVG of your logo? And he sent me his logo. Using that SVG, I was able to extrude the logo and then emboss it into the sides of the helicopter, as well as putting the Repkord R on the nose of the helicopter, which you can see there. And once I got to a point where I was ready to start printing, that's what I did. And the color scheme you see on the screen there is what I decided to go with. Now, my color picker thing, the green ended up a lot lighter than the Battle Pack green. But I'm going to get the Rep Chopper here in just a second, and we'll show the progress that I've made on it so far, and talk about some of the things I've learned about the filament along the way. Because the rolls are small, and I was afraid that if I had a printing failure on like the body, for instance, that I would use too much filament. I didn't do my due diligence and print a few smaller test items first to try to dial in the settings on the filament. So I was kind of doing that on the fly, which was a mistake for me. Because as I found out along the way, the battle pack likes to be printed a little cooler than the filaments that I typically use. For instance, Amazon Basics filament, which seems to be my go-to here lately, it likes 210 to 215 on the hot end. Well, I printed the first few parts of the Rep Chopper at 215, and I wasn't getting that good of quality prints. And I'm not real good at diagnosing why something looks the way it does just yet. So at first I was blaming the machine, and I went through the CR10 and made sure everything was tight and right, and re-leveled the bed and everything, and printed the next piece, and it had the same issues. The issues I was having was the support material was hard to remove, and I had some layers that weren't lining up right. They were not looking good, and some overhangs that were kind of ugly. It didn't even dawn on me that I was just printing it too hot. When I switched colors to the green, I lowered at first I lowered the temperature just 5 degrees, and it was still giving me some overhang issues. So then I dropped the temperature all the way down to 200 and started getting much better results. And I may, when I switch to the tan, because the tan I can afford to do more dialing in with, because I don't have that many tan parts on here. And maybe that's what I should have started printing with, so that I could have fiddled with it more. I may try lowering the temperature even more, because the supports are still kind of sticking a little more than usual for me. So anyhow, let me grab the rep chopper, sitting back here. At least where I'm at with it so far. We'll go back to the close-up. Yeah, they appear to be about 500 grams. They're fairly small. I'll grab one in a minute. So here's where I'm at with printing the rep chopper. So when I say I was having some issues with overhangs and stuff, I don't know if that'll focus in. You know, most of the time I can print something that has a circular hole like that without any supports at all. And I put a little support in it, and it still had these areas here at these corners that it didn't like. So, but again, that's my fault, not the filament. So when I lowered the temperature to 200, that's when I got these parts here in the gun, which they printed much nicer at 200. I may, like I said, try going down to 195, because I managed to break the canopy when I was removing the supports from it here and here. I glued it for the purposes of prototyping. It's still fine. You know, I would prefer that I reprint it, and I will. Right now I just want to get all the parts printed, get this thing put together, so that I can make iterations to parts that need it. And like one thing that I already discovered needs iteration is how the skids join on here. The registration marks in the body are not deep enough, and rather than go back and make those bigger and adjust the skids and have to reprint this piece and reprint the skids, instead I added a cradle to back the screen share. I added a cradle underneath the skids. So granted, there's gonna be a little more support material, because it's gonna have to build supports underneath this section here, but that will allow the notches in the sides to literally be just registration marks. All you're doing is using them to help you line up where the skids go, and then you're gonna have this whole surface area here for gluing. It should make it a much more solid connection. So that's where I'm at with the rip chopper. You can see the blades spin. And when I get the tail rotor done, it's designed to it's got a little notch on it that you can grab with your fingers and spin it too. And yeah, so that's the rip chopper. Now let me grab a roll of the filament. Go back to the close-up. I haven't opened it yet. But here is the tan military khaki, whatever you want to call it, whatever the official name is. Again, I should have done my homework before I did this, but it's a very nice color. Morning, Pooch. Thanks for subbing, man. So it's a very nice color. It's very cool. And again, it's a color that you don't see too often. A lot of the times, the tan colored filaments you see out there are like wood filaments and stuff. And you know, if you don't want to print with a wood filament, but you want a tan color, the Battle Pack is going to be a good way to go for that. And like I said, I just knocked that off. The green, there's a little glare on it. The green is very nice. The only other Army green that I've tried was the C. Gaydon Army green, and there's still a place if you're printing this kind of stuff for it as well, because it's a lighter color. So I mean, you can see this one here is probably more U.S. military, like Army accurate. This one's nice too, and prints fairly well. But yeah, the lesson I learned with the Battle Pack is it likes to be printed a little bit cooler. Yes, 500 grams. See, there we go. There's the expert right there. It likes to be printed a little cooler than the filaments that I've typically been printing with, and I did not learn that early on enough. So there is some areas that need some improvement on my prototype, but the prototype it's just that, it's a prototype. It's making sure everything fits together, and I'm able to, you know, then make iterations necessary before the public gets a hold of it. Now my patrons do already have all the files for this, and Pooch, I need to send you the updated skids, because I added this cradle under the skid to give it a more solid connection gluing point, because when I put this in and I glued it, it's fairly solid, and if I was using a better glue, like if I was using some 3D Gloop or something, it probably would be fine in that version. But when I'm prototyping, I use a low temp hot glue, and the reason for that being is it holds solid enough to hold the thing together, but it's also not so solid that I can't just snap it back apart if I need to, and peel off the glue residue. And if I need to make iterations to a part, then I can reprint the part and test fit it again. So yeah, it's the rep chopper's coming along nicely. Again, it's hot glue, so I accidentally snapped that off. But you can see the rep chopper here. Repkord. The R is on the nose of the chopper there. I'm going to switch over to the tan filament today. The green is still currently loaded in my CR10. I'm going to switch over to the tan filament today. I'm going to use it to print the interior and the tail rotor. So, as I was telling you, the tail rotor has a little nub on it where you can kind of grab it with your fingers and spin it. And it's on the same type of peg that is, which that's fun to do. Just got to be careful not to whack yourself in the face with it when you're not looking. So yeah, the rep chopper's coming along. I've got most of it prototyped at this point. I just need to do the interior and the tail rotor, and I may make a couple iterations here and there on some stuff just to give it a better gluing point. But again, I think if you're using something like super glue or 3D glue to put it together, and because I've seen how strong 3D glue can be, if you're using something like that to put it together, then I think you'll be fine as is. I think the problem I was running into, because when I first glued the skid on, just the weight of the chopper alone caused one of the skids to start leaning out a little bit, and that's what made me decide I needed to do something different with the skids. Color match to an official U.S. Army issued gear, as was the Coyote Tan. Okay, see, and now I've got the guy that knows the official names for the colors. So, OD Green and Coyote Tan, Gunmetal Gray, and Black Ops Black. Is that correct on the colors? Like I said, I haven't had a chance to get my hands on the black yet, but that's going to happen. Um, the the pictures I've seen of some people like showing it like pre-release, it looked to be a kind of matte black. Is that correct? Is it a little more matte than? Or is that going to vary based upon print settings? Because I think it was I think Joe Mike. Morning, John. I think Joe Mike had a roll or something and was printing some stuff with it. It's not officially a matte. Okay. It looked a little more matte than the Amazon Basics black that I've been using. Um, but yeah, it's coming along. I'm I'm happy with the design. The way that it looks, and I think once I get the prototype done and get everything dialed up, where I'll then spend the time with the filament I got left. I don't want to use any filament other than what I need for the rep chopper right now, because my plan is when I get the rep chopper done, I'm going to take a picture of the rep chopper with the filament remaining. That way I can showcase to people that, look, you could buy a battle pack, you could print a rep chopper, and you still got some filament left for some other projects. Thank you, Matt/Jake. So yeah, okay, they're 500-gram rolls, and I believe Pooch, didn't you say that the three colors I got, it's going to be available in that configuration as well, and that's going to be called the Rumble Pack. So if you just need the tan, green, and gunmetal gray, which is the only three colors I'm using in printing a rep chopper. Good morning, Chris Riley. How are you doing? Okay, so the Rumble Pack is the 3-pack, and so that's what I got was the Rumble Pack. So I have been able to print this entire thing, and the parts that used the most was the body, and I used the gunmetal gray on the body of the chopper, and I can show you right now. I've still got this much of the gunmetal gray left, so I'm no good at. Okay, Battle Pack is a Rumble Pack plus Black Ops. I'm no good at guesstimating, but I'd say that's about half the roll. Maybe a little less than half the roll left. So you'll still have some left if you wanted to print the rep chopper in the exact colors I did. You could buy the Rumble Pack, print the entire rep chopper in the same color scheme that I did, and you're still going to have about half the roll of the gunmetal gray left. There's way more of that than the green left, because I'm done printing with that over there. Actually, I could. Hold on. done printing with the green for now. So as you can see, you still have the majority of the roll of the green left. And that much of the gunmetal gray. And if you chose a different color scheme with it, you know, if you decided the body was going to be green, then you'd have that much green left, you know. But you can order yourself a rumble pack. You can print the entire rep chopper and still have filament left for other projects. Yeah, this is, and they're great colors, man. They really are. And it's my fault for not taking the time to dial in the temp settings on it a little bit. But like I said, I was afraid that I'd have a print failure on, you know, one of these, the big gunmetal gray pieces. And if I did, then I was afraid that I would run out of filament if I had a print failure. Also, like I said, I wanted to be able to print this and be able to show you exactly how much you would have left. But it's nice filament. It's awesome colors that, especially the OD green, is a color that's really hard to find in any other filament line. So thumbs up for that, Pooch, big time. Because most of my designs are, you know, kind of purpose built to be printed that color. And the closest thing I was able to get prior to was the Seagaden. And the Seagaden green, you can see, is a much lighter green. It's more of an, you know, but now I'm thinking I'd like to print something and use the two greens together. And I may at some point. So that was the best military green I had found prior to this, and this is now my favorite army green. The OD green is my favorite by far. Get this over here. I needed to pop my chat out because my eyes are having trouble focusing this morning, and the chat on my OBS is just too small. So yeah, the rumble pack is nice. Pooch sent it to me before he sent it out the door, I guess, before he went to Murph, and was excited to get it and start printing stuff with it. But like I said, I didn't want to just print a vehicle I'd already printed with it. I decided that it deserved its own model. And when I got to the point where the model was almost done, I was like, you know, it'd be really cool since Repkord is sponsoring the build of this, it would be to put Repkord's logo on it. And so I've been overwhelmed with the positive feedback from the community so far on it as well. I look forward to getting it finished. And I like the initially I had the tail the same color as the body, but then I started playing around a little bit, and I liked making the tail a different color. And then I thought the tan stood out nicely against the green, so I decided to make the tail rotor the tan and the interior is tan. So it uses all three of the Rumble Pack's colors. I don't know how I would have laid out the color scheme differently if I had gotten the full battle pack. Maybe made the rotor black. I don't know. The tail rotor black. I don't know. But yeah, you can literally you could print this entire thing. You're still going to have quite a bit of the Rumble Pack or Battle Pack left for your other projects, and there's some great colors, man. The again the green especially, just because of the difficulty in finding a good, you know, olive drab army green. So that sums up where we're at with the rep chopper and what I've got left to do. It also my thoughts so far on the battle pack, which is it's awesome. It's awesome. The color selection is top notch. Okay, all right. So it's not live on the website yet. So um, remind me, Pooch, when it send me a message or something when it goes live on your website, because I will go back to this video since it's all in the description and stuff. I will go back to this video and I will put a link to your site to where they can buy the battle pack in the video description of this video. But it's great for people like me who are printing military inspired designs. That this color set, because the only other company out there that I'd seen doing very many military colors was Paramount 3D, and I had some problems with some of their filament diameters. That's why I had to go away from the cap tubes on my CR10, because their filament diameter was causing it to jam up in the cap tube. But yeah, these colors are looking great. I'm excited to print more stuff with them, and I do have many other projects that are going to use it. I may have to get one of those giant rolls like James did for his Ready Printer One cabinet. Whenever I go to do the where is it? Whenever I go to tackle this monster. Because this thing, when it's all said and done, is going to be like trailer and cab total is going to be like 4 feet long. It's going to be huge. So I may have to go the route that James at Print and Play did and get a giant roll of the green, because it's going to take a whole lot of the green. All I'd have to do to this in its current configuration is change the seats to the tan to be, for it to already be Rumble Pack or Battle Pack colors. Because I could use the Black Ops black on the tires and the gunmetal gray on the wheels and gas tanks and stuff, and the canopy. So there we go. There's a design that's in the works. It's in the works that would be perfect for Battle Pack, but would take a few Battle Packs. So have your credit cards handy, because when this is done, you're going to need a whole bunch of Battle Packs to print this. So yeah, I'm a fan. I can't wait to print more cool stuff with it. Now I need to go back and maybe even print one of my my VSVs in it. the VSV has become kind of my almost impromptu channel mascot. And I've got some plans for some upgrade kits and some changes to it as well in the future. And so this would be another nice battle pack project. But I believe this one would take a couple rolls of the green, because if I remember right, I don't know. Yeah, if I remember right, it was close to a kilo of green. It was almost a full kilo to print all the green parts on here. But I'd like to print one in it in just battle pack colors, because it's ideally suited for it. So yeah, there we have the Rep Chopper, and I've almost printed it in its entirety. I would say probably by the end of the day today, if everything goes well and I have time to print, to swap in the filament and slice the files that I need, because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more pieces left to print in the tan. Because in the, I don't even know if I'm saying the word right, the Finistron, whatever. I don't know. Brian Vines educated me on what that's called when the tail rotor is tucked away inside the tail like that. Which this one's going to be tricky, because I know it's going to need some kind of crazy supports for that blade. But that's one piece, so that one may be tricky to clean the supports off of. But I've been fairly fortunate 99% of the time in taking supports off of stuff. And I've even thought about maybe I need to make a video explaining to people, best practices in support removal. Tom, good morning, sir. So I've got this piece left to print. I've got this piece left to print, which you can see there has basically like an axle inside of it. Let me hide this. See, there's a little axle kind of deal inside there, nub. So I'll print that, which neither one of those prints should take very long. Those aren't really large pieces. I think the longest print I've got left is the seat. So I'll get these things printed, hopefully today. And get everything all glued together nice, and post it on Twitter. So yeah, when the battle pack becomes available, if you are printing anything like military inspired, I say go for it. It's some really cool colors. Still haven't laid out, once I get all the iterations done, which there are a few. Not very many so far, actually. It shouldn't be too hard. Get the iterations done. I will discuss with Pooch plans for public distribution of the model. Of course, all of my designs my patrons get first access to, which I lost a patron yesterday. I'm down to 7 now. 7 patrons at $19 a month. But I keep that all public, full disclosure for everybody. I'm not getting rich off this stuff. I do this because I enjoy doing it, and your support means the world to me. And I do thank those that are that have supported the Patreon page in the past, and those who are still doing so. Definitely, thank you very much. All of this is all this stuff is made. I would be making this stuff either way because I enjoy doing it, but it gives me that kick in the pants I need some days where I just don't feel like modeling. It gives me a kick in the pants that there's people out there who could be potentially waiting for me to, produce something new for them. So, and that's helpful. That helps me a lot. It's a good motivation. But I'm really happy with the project and the way it's coming out, and really happy with the filament colors. And I'll be happier with my print results, I believe, once I have a little more time with the filament to dial it in better. Because it was my mistake printing it too hot at first. I don't know what Amazon Basics does with their PLA, why it's like 215, but running this at 215, it was not happy with it. It's much happier at 200. So if you do get yourself a battle pack, unless you're going to print temp towers and stuff like that, which is probably the smartest thing to do, but I've never been accused of taking my time and doing the smartest things. 200 is probably a good baseline to start with. Whether you end up going up or down, could change greatly based upon what printers you're using. For my CR10S4, like I said, Amazon Basics prints beautifully at 215 to 210, and Inland and can't even think of the name of it now. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Inland and 3D Solutech print best for me at 210. But I now know that I need to go a little cooler with the battle pack. Pooch, what temperatures have you found when printing with battle pack colors? Because I was thinking when I print the tan, I may try going down to like 195, because I'm still having some supports that are sticking a little harder, and I think they're just fusing in there a little bit. So. Tell Pyro to ship your sign. But yeah, the ugly overhangs and stuff I was getting went away with going down to 200, and I'm wondering if maybe knock another 5 degrees off if my supports would come off a little easier. Because I think they're fusing into the model a little bit. Huh. Well, yeah, like I said, different printers are going to require different print temps. But yeah, I got much better print quality at 200 than I was getting at than I got it 215. I got some real interesting fusing of support materials. 210, the support materials were still fusing, and I was still getting some overhang issues. 205, the overhang issues had went almost completely away, but I was still having support issues, and now I went down to 200, and the overhangs are beautiful again. but I'm still having some supports that are sticking a little harder than I want them to. Which I may, before I release this public, I may have to thicken up this spot on the canopy, because this is where I broke it, was right here when I was removing the supports. It just may be too thin. So maybe if I take that vertice right there, just straighten it out a little bit. I liked the look that it had, you know, kind of dented in like that, but I think that created too much of a weak point for the part when I was trying to remove the supports. So there, we iterated the canopy a little bit. Cooling settings. I believe my fan just after layer 1 is running 100%. I believe. I have to go in and look at the machine when it's running. And it's got one of those Fang cooling ducts on it. Yeah, in supports, it's as far as removing supports, making sure your filament temperature settings and stuff being dialed in are a really important part of that. Because if you got your temp settings dialed in just right, support usually snap off pretty easy. And I know different slicers will do differently with supports as well. I hear slicer or Slick 3R if you prefer. I hear their supports come off very nice. I haven't tried because I use Cura, and I'm not even using the most up to date Cura. I think I'm using Cura 3.6 still. So I may try that before I print the next pieces. Is to go to Cura 4.0 because it's out, isn't it? And try that. And I know, like I said, why I snapped that is that it's so thin. That is so thin, and I was in a rush because I was getting close to having to leave, and I needed to. I wanted to put that on Twitter for you guys, so I was rushing it a little bit. Yeah, it'd still give you that angled look that I liked. And thicken it up a little bit. I've tried Idea Maker, and I was a big fan of its manual supports. What I'm not a big fan of, the last time I tried Idea Maker, was print times. Because some of my parts are fairly large, and a print that would be an 8-hour print in Cura was a 11 or 12-hour print in Idea Maker. So yeah, I tried Idea Maker. I've got it on my machine, but the last time I used it, like I said, the print times were dramatically higher, and I'm not patient because I don't get the opportunity to print every day because I don't trust leaving my go click optimize print order. Okay. Well, I'll give it a try. I'm willing to go back and try, and I haven't, again, my version's probably old now because I haven't used it in a long time. I wished when I tried Idea Maker that they would have had it easier to set up profiles for a machine. That's the thing I like the best about Cura is setting up a profile for a machine takes, you know, now granted it takes time to dial it in real good, but just getting yourself up and printing is quick. I don't know. It might be interesting to because they're similar printers. I mean, granted, the S4 is a 400 by 400, and the Tornado is a 300 by 300 bed, so there's some differences there. But it would be interesting to slice them, set them at the same millimeters per second, and and run two machines printing the same thing at the same time and see which one finishes faster. Okay, Idea Maker's easier to set up now because before you had to go in and you had to like fiddle with every little number, and it took forever to just even start printing, and I didn't like that. Again, I lack the patience. I don't have the patience of Tom Jackson, which is why my prints look the way they do and his prints look the way his does. um, to get a profile on a machine dialed in to absolute perfection. So I will go and download the newest version of that, and I'll try that on. But see, I haven't had problems with when Cura's time estimations for me have been right even on long prints within 10-15 minutes. I've been right on the button within 10 to 15 minutes. And 10 to 15 minutes one way or the other doesn't bother me at all. But when I slice something in Cura and it tells me it's an 8-hour print, and I slice the same thing in Idea Maker and it tells me it's a 11 or 12-hour print, I'm like, oh no, no, I will go with the 8-hour print every time. Cool. Well, I'm glad they have a wizard now, so I will. I'll give it a go. So I think thickening up that pillar there will make it less likely to snap it off during support removal, because there's just no way to print this without supports. It just can't be done. I'm going to say that, and somebody's going to prove me wrong. But it's like one of those lattice cubes with even trickier angles. But overall, I'm really pleased with the way the design came out. I'm pleased with the filament. I'm pleased with everything about the project. And I hope and expect that Pooch and I will be collaborating on some more stuff in the future. So keep an eye on that. We've already been talking about some stuff. So we'll collaborate with some more stuff together and make some more cool things like the Rep Chopper. Which that will over time it spins pretty good now, but like anything where you put two PLA parts together, you give them a little time, a little wear in time to they'll work even nicer together. Because this was a little stiffer when I first printed it, but now that I've spun it a bunch, it spins even better, and that'll even increase over time. It'll spin even better. But as you can see, it holds on nice and tight using that the same design I use for my axles. So you can pick it up by that and it doesn't come off. And it spins nicely. So it's not like it's going to be popping off, or you go to spin it and it's going to fly off on you. You should be able to spin it and take a little bit of abuse, and it is still plastic. So that's where we're at with the rep chopper. That's in the battle pack. Like I said, you can get yourself a battle pack, print the entire rep chopper, and this is the filament I use the most of, and you can see I still got about half the roll. So might even be able to print yourself 2 rep choppers. And if you switched up the color schemes, you definitely could. Parent sitting. So yeah, it's coming along. I've got some more projects in the works, and of course we got the jet, which has kind of been put on hold while I've been working on the rep chopper, but we'll get back to the jet soon, and might be cool to print the body of the jet in Black Ops Black. That might be neat. Then it'd look stealth-like. As Pooch said, it's not a advertised matte as such, but it definitely looks, in the pictures I've seen, more matte than the black I've been using. So I want to make an armored version of the VSV, and when I get the armored version done, I may use I may print it in battle pack colors. That'd be kind of cool. There are the armor upgrade kit anyway. Well, I'll print the whole VSV in battle pack colors, but what I'm working on is another upgrade kit for the VSV. Because I try to make my stuff modular. Like, we'll be able to go in and, even on this, something as simple as swapping these missile pods out, you could take and put, let's see, let's go up here. Being that I keep my designs in a kind of modular nature, you could take and make an upgrade kit for this that does something like and I'm just throwing this together real quick as a for instance. Just starting with the rough shape real quick so you can get the basic idea of what I'm seeing here. You do something like this in just a matter of a few minutes, and you've got, little like wings that you could mount missiles and stuff under. Right, and could do a different gun design or a camera kind of pod. Make it a spy chopper to mount on the front. I try to keep that sort of stuff in mind when I'm designing anything. Is how can we get the most out of this model by just swapping around a few parts and give people the options to print stuff differently. Which is why we've got, with the VSV, you got, this version, you've got the sport roof. I've got an armored version coming. You can choose to have it an open back Jeep like this, or you can put the turret kit on it. Yeah, all sorts of different things you could do. And now that I got this skid thing like this, I could even modify this to put a winch on it or something, and you could make the skids a little longer and make a cargo box that goes underneath of it. I don't know, any number of things that could be done. I do want to make a big chopper design at some point that's modular to the point of being troop transport or having a sky crane version and things like that, just by swapping out some different parts as well. So just because this is my first chopper doesn't mean it's my last. I've got I got more things in mind for this stuff as well. If only I had enough hours in the day. Good morning, Matt Johnson. If only I had enough hours in the day to design and print all the things that are floating around in my head. But there are not enough hours in the day, not enough days in the week, not enough weeks in the year to get it all out there. And that's why whenever people that I talk to about 3D printing goes, what do you do when you run out of stuff to print? I'll never run out of stuff to print. If I run out of stuff to print, it means I need to sit my butt back down in the chair and design something. I can probably count on one hand the number of things I've printed that I didn't design myself. And that's not because I'm not supporting other designers. That's just because I've got, limited time to print, and when I'm printing, I want to print the stuff that I'm prototyping. I love seeing what the other designers are doing out there, but guys like, especially some of the really cool stuff I've seen from guys like Wexter. But a Joker bust sitting on my table does nothing for me. It just would occupy my printer and prevent my printer from printing something that I'm trying to prototype. His models are awesome, and maybe that just means I need more printers. But and I don't have them running during the stream because this room is small, it gets hot, and they're noisy. Well, I'm sure they appreciate it, Tom. know I kind of ran my mother-in-law around to all of her doctor's appointments and stuff like that when we were living in St. Louis before she passed away. So I know exactly what kind of stuff you're going through with that. And my mother-in-law was the closest thing I'd had in my life to a mom. So 3 more today. Oh, a resin printer. Which resin printer are you getting? I'm still kicking myself for passing on that Photon that I could have got here locally, new in box for $175. I just wasn't in a position at the day that the Craigslist posting got made to drop $175. They dropped it at the end of the month, towards the end of the month, and I'm like, I got to pay rent in a couple days. I can't do that. Thanks, Pooch. I look forward to doing more, modular, cool projects like this, and I get this, I get the initial version done. That's when I'll go back and make upgrade kits. Oh, you get a Photon for $140, dude. That's awesome. So yeah, making upgrade kits for this and modules to change out and do different things with. It'll be fun. It'll be challenging, and just like I said, like I've done with the VSV, if I design stuff so that I can swap out, you swap out a few pieces and you get something that serves a totally different purpose, then that's the best way to maximize the use of your model to get the most out of it. Because the bulk of the time you spend is designing the initial model. Designing upgrade kits and stuff doesn't take that much time, but now maybe you opened up a whole nother avenue for somebody else who has not yet printed it. Maybe that's the mod that will give them a reason to print it. And it kind of goes into that whole throwing a bunch of stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. So yeah, then I could design different missile pods and stuff to put under those little wings, like see a lot of attack choppers do. We could, hide that and put all sorts of different stuff on there. Put a more pointed nose cone on it and make it more of a civilian type chopper. And I like the body being split into 3 sections like this, because then that also gives people the opportunity to say you wanted to do something, a little different. You could, print it like red, white, and blue in 3 different body sections, because helicopters, you've got that kind of stuff. And the other thing that gives me the ability to do is I could make a different middle body section like this, wait, where's the body plane? I need to copy that one instead. Because before I got the permission from Repkord to do so, that was the version I released to my patrons, was the non-Repkord version. But as you can see, the Repkord logo definitely takes the coolness factor up. But having it modular in the way that it is would allow you to even do, you know, to change things up. Oops, I gotta grab some of those other vertices. Move them down here too. Anyway, you get the idea. You just do a different middle body section, then you could add a storage compartment in here or a door on the side without redoing the whole model. So then you're just modularly changing individual pieces. Hey, Info Mario. That'd be cool, Matt Johnson. So yeah, without having to redesign a whole model, you would just be able to change individual parts and come up with something totally different. You know, even for that matter, we could put a more civilian-looking front end on it and not be an attack chopper anymore. A lot of different things you could do just modularly swapping out one piece here or there. But then that gives you the base platform to work with. Moving into the next model, so that you're not redesigning from scratch a whole thing. Anyway, guys, I got some stuff to take care of today, so I probably ought to start thinking about running out the door and doing it. I was, procrastinating until 9 o'clock because some of the errands that I have to run, weren't open until 9. But the earlier I take care of it, the earlier I get it done and can enjoy my day off. Thank you guys for joining me. The battle pack will be coming soon to Repkord's website, and as soon as it is, I will come back and retroactively put the link to that in the description. It is not available yet, but it's coming very soon. I recommend it highly. It's an awesome set of colors, and if you're printing anything military inspired whatsoever, I'm gonna just call it a must-have. And hope you all are enjoying the rep chopper, and I will get, before I leave to run my errands, I will swap out the filament and start first one of the tan prints before I walk out the door. And we will hopefully have those all printed today, and by tonight I'll be able to put up a completed, we'll call it the base model of the rep chopper, up on Twitter. Will be fully prototyped, and that'll allow me to go back and make iterations where necessary. We get all the iterations done, we'll start talking about how we want to go about releasing this to the public. It is available to my patrons now, in its present state. Again, iterations will come, but you can put it together just just as I have right now. You could have this in your hand too in a matter of a couple days of printing. If you decide to support the channel, you can do that as well. So anyhow, appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks everybody for stopping in today. A special shout out to Pooch for subscribing today and stopping in and joining me. Absolutely, man. If you make a good product, it deserves for people to know it's a good product. So and it's a good product. So people be sure to check out Repkord and his website for all of your 3D printing supplies and needs. And of course, especially if you have a multi-material unit, the Rep box is definitely appears to be a game changer. I don't have multi-material capabilities yet. That's something that I really want to do in the future, so that I can start utilizing more of the multi-material designs that I've been making and not have to rely on other people to print it for me. I don't have to, that way I don't have to send it to Roy Holly and say, Roy, could you please, if your printer's not busy, if your MMU2 is not busy, could you print this for me? So that's still on the ways down the line. I got to get a new computer first, and then after I get a new computer, the savings that gets set aside will be set aside for a Prusa Mark III, I guess S now, and MMU2S. But yes, if you get your Rep Box 2 today, they are a game changer for nice for everybody to have, but especially if you've got an MMU unit, I'm going to call it a must-have. If you've got a Palette 2 or a MMU 2, it is a must-have to order yourself a Rep Box. So anyhow, we'll see you guys in the next one, and thank you for hanging out with me today. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you on social media.